Hello. Today we're going to today we're going to see my remastering or reimagining of the project of No Go Turks. There is an alternate history hub scenario where where Genghis Khan didn't just survive and Kiev just lived. Basically, if you haven't watched the video, go ahead. I also have made a video, but it's too long, so I'm going to summarize it as best as I can. How did the Uyghurs fall? Simple, due to infighting, but the world is not as it seems. Once it was more peaceful, kinda. It wasn't this hodgepodge of disaster, I guess. It would have taken one change to alter the world significantly. Well, Genghis Khan didn't survive. We know this because he died of cold and hunger. And, well, Rome once conquered everything in a known world. Then it collapsed into multiple kingdoms. But then again, even the Hungarians, Magyars, as we say them, are gone. Simply kaput. As is the rest of the Turkish civilization, or Ottoman civilization, so did everything else. Sure, Islam was still popularized by Persia, which still exists to this day. Persia controls basically most of Eastern Middle East, and, well, it's a Middle Eastern power, as is Mesopotamia and is also Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Mesopotamia reformed after World War I unofficially, but it did actually again reform itself after World War II as a kingdom yet again, a confederation, kind of. It calls itself the Confederation of Mesopotamia. Now, Kurdistan. Oh, Kurdistan has always been independent, kind of. Sure, it wasn't independent under the Roman rule, but once it got its independence from Byzantine, or kinda, then it roamed the earth. Nobody able to stop it. And so, Bulgaria was once a grand superpower controlling most of the Balkans. Sure, it was divided between the Dacians, Serbians, and Bulgarians, while the Illyrians on the other side controlled the west, but uneventfully, most of the area goes down. This whole Slavicization is, well, kind of more known. Sure, they avoided the Dacians because they were fierce fighters, and instead took control of the central-ish Danube, which would become the Grand Republic of Slovaks. And basically, the Slovaks, they're in the future. Now let's focus on the past. The Macedonians rebelled during a monarchist rebellion against the Bulgarians. It failed because they weren't equipped and they didn't have enough resources. Plus, there was a war. Well, many wars, in fact. And actually, it was in the 18th century once the monarchist revolutionaries overthrew the old governments. Now, let's focus on... Actually, never mind. But, yeah, they were the first to rebel from the old government. Then, the many rebellions of the years to come have happened. The Illyrians being one of the nations to split apart after the Macedonians, Bulgarians, Serbians, and Dacians once again rebelled against their own masters. I don't know. But yeah, they won. Oh, did you know that once the Bulgarians controlled all of Anatolia? Well, yeah, really. Actually, the Armenians mostly had the East to themselves. And mostly, history plays out okayish. The second war took down even more Bulgarian defenses, and it even weakened them. And while yes, the 1910s were a kind of disastrous period for them, it wasn't that bad. They would have lost even more. Now, let's focus on Europe. Mainly in Europe. You know about Francia? Yeah, it split apart during Charlemagne. It was until the 11th century that Charlemagne's line blew up. In the HRE, however, there was Luxembourg controlling most of modern-day Belgium. And mostly the Union, the empire stood fine. Until, it fell into the German Confederation. But since there was no power to represent it, other than Poland, which they saw it as a crude behavior, most of the Frankfurt Parliament decided to band together. Because, yeah, Austria was very, very strong at the moment, controlled most of the world, but they could try. The Austrians supported them to unite the whole empire of theirs. They succeeded. They only had to give up more German land. And if you wanted to know the bloody deals, they lost in both world wars. Actually, no. Lost in the First World War and even in the Franco-German War. Really. To this day, France is seen as a world cucker. They've never given independence or, unification to the Italian peninsula, only keeping it as severe territories. Heck, there was even a Carthaginian revolution in the 20th century. And, well, if you know something about Bonaparte Revolution, it was that it established a sort of union between Central Germany. Actually, no. It was between itself and most of the modern states. Poland, Italy, as in North Italy, Germany, or HRE. Sure, it won for a short while, but then it collapsed again, and that's how it's been done. Now, when you think about federalism, you don't think about the Kievs. The Kievs are the weakest link of them all. The Lithuanians are the richest society ever, controlling all the Ruthenian lands, and they're just basically split up between more successful versions of themselves. The Urals, Urals, uh, the Urals, the Salmi, the Novgorods, etc., etc. Even the Crimeans are there, and basically this desert of people. It's just a desert. There's Karelia. No, I'm sorry. Anyways, there's the Chinese Republic and the Taiwanese Union, or the South Chinese Union, made between Taiwan and the non-Turkic tribes of the north. And now, basically, you know what happens. America and China, or the West China, as we know, declare war on each other. It's a heated conflict, split between nations, wars, everything. The Republic of Vietnam even won against the socialists. And sure, well, history stays the same-ish. Kind of. You can never change the past or the future, or the present. Now, the world is a mess. Carthage has gained the 2 islands. France is controlling Italy. The Germans are the poorest nation ever, and everything is a mess. But if we can be strong, we can have everything. This is Marco, the communist of